Hi there, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Paint Party live stream. I'm so glad to have you here with me in studio again this week. It's so great. I hope your week has gone great. This live stream is my Learn to Paint journey, so I invite you every week to join me as I work on a different painting. The live stream is really laid back. Just pop in, stay as long as you'd like. You can participate in the live stream through the comments on whichever platform you're watching us on. So feel free to make comments, to ask questions throughout the live stream. I really enjoy interacting with you as I go through the evening. Over the last several weeks, we've been working on paintings that we have started in previous live streams. I'm trying to clear out my studio of paintings, and so I'm trying to finish up some of those paintings. A lot of them I have not touched in maybe several weeks or even several months, and so my own growth has progressed, and so you'll see what I change and what I adjust in those paintings as we go, and that's no different this evening. We're going to be addressing a painting we've done before that you may have seen on the live stream already, so I'm excited for that. You can go ahead and scan the QR code in the corner here if you would like to engage more closely with me. Over the next year, I'm going to be working on a collection of paintings from here in the Black Hills where I live in the mountains, and you will be brought along kind of through that, so you can sign up for my email list. I usually am planning to send out an email maybe once, maybe twice a month, so it won't inundate your email inbox, but I just want to make that available for those of you that kind of want to follow the step-by-step of that journey, developing the collection as well as then the exposition that I plan to host next week and the opening that I plan to host next year for this collection. So feel free to take advantage of that. Again, welcome to the live stream this evening. We'll go ahead and jump right in on the painting we're working on. You may see it on the easel behind me, but let me switch over to my other camera and then I'll put that up on your screen so you can see what we're working on this evening. Oops, I am upside down. Let me switch that around real quickly. I don't know how it got turned upside down, but we will get it turned right side up. There we are. And that way I can see you all, or you can see me without. There is the reference photo we'll be using. You may recognize this from several months ago. I'll switch my other camera over so that you can see my canvas more directly. Let me get this all set up. Then we will work on this. Now, it may look like it is finished or pretty finished, but there are some things that it was never quite done for me as it's been sitting in my studio, and I couldn't quite figure out what I wanted to do, but I think I have some ideas on how I want to improve this painting and get it wrapped up. So let me, I'm out of, sorry about that. There we go, has to auto adjust. That said, I will connect you back over so you can see the painting we're working on. Let me see here. I don't know how all of my cameras got switched around, but that's all right. Now we are good. You'll see my palette here in the corner. So let me go here. Again, I hope you had a good week. We're starting to get into fall here in the mountains. Oh, I forgot to put my apron on, so I'll do that real quickly. We're getting some fall weather. It was gorgeous today, about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and beautiful sunny days. The leaves are changing. They should be full color in the next about 2 weeks, so I'm excited for that, to get some good reference photos in the next week or so. I'm hoping we hold off for a hard freeze for at least a couple of weeks so we get some good color change. Okay, one of the things right away I noticed isn't working as much as I notice it in the reference photo is this tower. And you can see, let me see if I can zoom in at all. When I painted this before, I just kept adding more and more yellow and orange paint to try to get it to pop the same way as the reference photo. And what I realized is one of the adjustments that I made for the reference photo was that I changed the background. I lightened up this, instead of the light part being up in this part of the sky, I moved it down in this part so it looks like the sun's setting there, which is great because it draws our eye there. But then without the background of the clouds, this contrast value-wise, and this is the mistake I was making, I was trying to change the color and brighten the color more and more, and I knew I couldn't just add white to it because that would diffuse the color. But the reason it's not popping off is because of the contrast. The value contrast is, even though this color is a bright color, it's not the same against this lighter color as it would be up in the darker color. So to address that, I still like this being the lightest. I like it being light like this. But what we can do is go in and put the dark areas of the steeple back in. So I think that's where we're going to start this evening. And I'm going to kind of work on the steeple a little bit. And use some kind of creativity and creative license with the steeple instead of trying to paint it exactly as it appears. So that is the plan, Stan. All right. I'm going to start with just 3 colors on my palette: the white, ultramarine blue, and raw umber. This will give us the dark color, so let's go here and see what we can do. Okay, I got my most slender. Welcome those of you that are coming into the live stream right now. I'm so glad to have you. All right, we'll mix kind of that dark, almost black that we use. I have been doing several sketches for the value sketches, which are I do basically in a grayscale, so they're almost like a Roselle, like a black and white monochromatic type sketch for the collection that I'm doing. So I've started working on those. I have also been doing a few additional sketches of a variety of subjects. That are, you'll see on my Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see those. So feel free to hop over there. All right, what I'm doing again is I am filling in this steeple with a dark color that will give us a high value contrast between the sky and the steeple. See how much, even though I took all of the lights out of the steeple, I have created immediate, it stands out immediately. It's because the value now here to here is much more dramatic. Then what we will do is once this dries, we'll go back and put the lights in here, but we'll make sure that they are on the interior of the steeple so that they will have contrast, bright contrast or dramatic contrast against the blacks and whites there. So, hope that makes sense. The next thing I'd like to do while that's drying is I want to go in. I don't like how there's not enough detail in these buildings, and I don't like how they are laid out. I don't think the angle is right on the perspective, and so I do think it's okay to leave them kind of how they are here. But I think what I want to do is go in and cover up some of these buildings and repaint the windows. Because the other thing I realized that wasn't working for me on this painting were the lines. The lines are just not precise enough, and they're just not working for me. So I want to try to correct that. So I'm basically going to start almost with a blank slate. Kind of like I did with the sky last week. Welcome. I see a few more people popping in. So glad to have you. Everybody's so quiet tonight. You can participate in the live stream through the comments. So feel free to comment if you'd like, or ask questions about what we're doing and why. I try to let you know what I'm doing and what I'm thinking when I'm doing it. Okay. That blacks out some of the paintings or some of the buildings. Hi, John. So glad to see you. You are right. Yes. Let me zoom in a little bit. The windows, when I painted them before, are not very precise. They're more like dabs of paint. And so when you get up close, you can really see it. But, I mean, far away, it's not as much a deal. But I think I can do so much better. And so that's what I am working on, because I'll be able to. And quite honestly, I have invested in some smaller brushes so they can do a little more precise detail work, where before I didn't have that. And the building foundation lines. Yes, it is sloppy down there, and it curves instead of going with the perspective line. So we will see if we can fix that up. Yep, you're right. It's some of the mistakes can be, but it's funny. Even just letting this sit for a few months, I know so much more, which is odd. Like how quickly just a little bit of knowledge can change. Or you can see what needs to be improved. And that's one of the reasons I stopped last week on that painting, because I couldn't, and I actually have not gone back to it because I couldn't figure out what I was missing, and I still don't see what I'm missing there. So I'm letting it sit, and I know that as I get some additional skills and knowledge, it will allow me to do what I need to do with it. I was going to try to keep some of this, but I think just starting over is going to be the best bet. So I'm kind of keeping the rough skyline, but am painting over the rest. That way I can start again. Hopefully correct a lot of these mistakes. The water I'm fairly happy with, especially once I take the buildings out and look at and the reflections in the water, I'm fairly happy with. So that is not too much of a problem. But not totally, I don't think, pleased with that, but okay, there we are. Now we have sort of a blank slate. Which is probably how I should have started the painting a long time ago. I'm going to step back and take a look at what I've done so far. See what I like, see what I don't like. Okay, I see a major error. You all may see this as well, but we'll see if we can, I don't know if we can fix it. Okay, major error I see right off now that I've painted over the skyline. Does anybody see an error that pops out before I say what I see? That just, it's not an error. I mean, it is an error, but it's it just doesn't look right or something. Or is there an area of the painting that just, the skyline that just doesn't look right for some reason, even if you can't articulate why? Does anybody see it? I'm curious if you all see it as well. Now that the distraction of the building lights are gone completely, nothing, or at least it's just quiet comments tonight. Okay, let me show you what I see. Notice this skyline, this roof line comes, which is fine, but notice these two roofs. In comparison to this, these two roofs stand out starkly. They jump back up. So what it does to the eye is it brings those way forward compared to this skyline. It's going back and receding perspective-wise, and then suddenly this roof particularly pops way up. So what I believe needs to be done is this roof at least needs to be taken down dramatically. So I'm going to see if I can blend in sky color. It's going to be a little difficult because this is so dark, to try to correct that mistake and bring that down, but we will see if we can do that. And we may be able to then leave this one, we may be able to leave, but this one definitely needs to come down because it's just visually distracting. I'm going to wait a little bit more. It's dry to the touch, but I'm going to wait a little bit more till it dries. But in the meantime, I think what we can do is go to the Hi, Bob G. No, this is not. This is a scene in Amsterdam that one of my former students took. And actually, this is a painting we did, you may remember, from several months ago. And it's been sitting, I mean, it was pretty much done, but it's just been sitting in my studio, and it just wasn't, I knew it wasn't done, like it wasn't done for me. And so, but I didn't know how to fix it. But I am working on it again today because I think I kind of know what, at least some of the fixing things that need done. Okay, now what I want to do is come back to this steeple. That's where we started. Remember I said the contrast, the reason it wasn't like popping off the canvas was because the contrast value-wise here was not, it wasn't, as this was a lighter value compared to the lights. And so what I'm going to try to do is put the lights inside this dark part of the steeple. That way we have really solid contrast of the lights from both sides. We'll have dark against light and light against dark when it just comes just down to values. Just values is what I'm looking at. And John, I agree with you what you said about the roof lines. And that's the thing, I was trying to paint it too photorealistically. And so I think the roof lines are, I do want to keep them a little more interpretive. I would want people to recognize this street or, you know, this view if they've seen it before. But I also don't feel like I have to keep it like so close next to the interpretively, you know, like interpretation wise. All right, I'm mixing these. You'll see I've added to my palette these reds and browns over here. And the yellows, and this is, so let's go and see. We want down here, I want some architectural features, and I'm just kind of using creative license on this because I can't actually see what the lights are reflecting off of in the picture. But hi there, Mom and Dad. Glad to have you. Follow the foundation you laid and make it work. Yes, you've hit the nail on the head. As far as my approach right now is to see, okay, let's build back, basically starting with just the foundation and see what we create. There we go. Okay, that gives us, and I started with very kind of basic, but also muted. It's not near the intensity of the final highlights because I want to give myself space to go. Hi, Michi. Thanks so much. Welcome. So glad to have Twitch viewers join whenever you do. That is always a joy to have you. Okay. I've put in, I think, as clear as I want to get, or as precise as I want to get with these design elements. Okay. Now I want to look at where I want my highest chromatic highlights to be as I go up the, and again, we're keeping these inside the contrast of the dark background so that it will feel like it's really brightly lit. That may be a little too much. I may have done, but maybe not. We shall see. Let's see what we can do. We want to there, do you see the contrast, the dark against the light, and then the same with the highlights? So that's what we're going for. Do want to take, oh, brightest highlight, and I just want a Ay, qué bueno. Guadalajara es una ciudad bellísima. Okay. There. The only thing that I don't really like about this is that center part. It's a little thick. So I think we're going to just keep adjusting. Again, this is ultimately the feeling we're going for. So all right. That's better to me at least. And then when we get the other stuff around it, it won't stand out as much, but it should still stand out well. We will see, because it will there will be other lights around it. Okay. Gonna put some lemon yellow out there too. All right, now wonder if we test the, let's see if we can fix this sky without ruining the whole thing. This will be the challenge, ladies and gents. This will be the challenge. Can we... Okay, this is almost out of the tube. So almost works out of the tube. So let's see if we can. While we're doing this, we might as well take them all down. Always put them back. We'll let that dry a little bit, and then we'll go put another layer there. All right, let's see. What's the next thing we can address? Or what can we fix? Let's see if we can mix some of this brown. Okay, we don't want a lot of variation, but let's see if we can put in some suggestion of buildings. Kind of just putting in an underpainting that I can carve out again. Not doing much value-wise. But just getting an idea. Like John said, I'm going to just kind of build from the ground up and kind of from my, almost from my imagination. So that's what I'm starting to jot back in, is just the kind of where would the roof lines of the buildings be? we'll just build up these values again. See, even just with this little adjustments of perspective, things are coming together much more nicely than they were. In my opinion. Okay. Okay. Now see what I meant about once I took out those rooftops, how much better this perspective goes. Even if I put them back in a little less high, things seem to flow better, and the proportions of these buildings are more correct for the perspective, if that makes sense. One thing I want to do is thanks, John. Hmm. Yo uso mis pinceles se llama Master's Touch. En los Estados Unidos tenemos una tienda o ¿cómo se dice? Sí, una tienda de arte que se llama Hobby Lobby y Master's Touch es de Hobby Lobby y este es Princeton. Princeton, yo creo que Princeton es una marca más, ¿cómo se dice? Available, más que quizás puedes obtener en México, pero yo no sé. The question was for the English speakers: is there a brand um, of brushes or um, canvases that I can recommend? Y creo que es pinturas es que se llama canvas, es Artist Loft de una tienda que se llama Michaels. And if I don't see, yo no entendiste bien, por favor, dime otra vez. Porque mi español es así. Perfecto. Thanks. I think, yes, once I started kind of laying it in, then I realized, ooh, let me continue. Because I think then what I'm going to do, John, you said to start with the foundation. What I think I'm going to do is go in then and choose in this facade specific buildings of the reference that I want to call out. Otherwise, they're going to be because if I try to fit every single building that's there, it's just going to be photorealist, which is not what I'm trying to do. So I think I'm going to pick them one at a time and plug them in, and then again use artistic license to build around them, which is I think what you had. Okay, I'm mixing a lighter color. I think I want to do this little building thing that's down here, that's on the dock. I need to correct some of the perspective issues with it, but I'm taking it down to kind of a brownish so it doesn't stand out as much. Okay. And value-wise, it's better in line, isn't it, with the rest of the values we have currently. So I can always build that back up, but it doesn't feel like it is distracting our eye anymore. So that's kind of what I want there. I want to come in and do reestablish the, I do want the pillars of the dock. I do want those to stay there. Okay. Once we have the structure better, I'm going to take just a little bit of this. I'm going to take some white into this, a little of the blue to knock down the, that's where I think same thing with the boat, because value-wise they're very similar tones, and then I can add details if I need to. I'm much more happy with this as it is going. Oh. Okay, now I think I do want to go back. Now that we have this kind of jotted in, this is dry. Let me see if I can come back and so I don't want it to look like it was touched up as much as possible. So I'm going to try to blend it right into the sky. I think I will be okay once the as long as there's no rough brush marks. I'm glad, because this sky, I don't know if you can see the brush making here. I used a medium that gave me kind of a glossy finish on that. See, oh, there, if I turn it, you can see the brush making, or the mark making there. And I really like that. And so I want to keep that. I didn't want to have to paint over that again. I really like that feeling of when you get up close to it, you can see the mark making in the painting. Gives it a little bit more of an oil feel, even though it's not oil. Okay, that makes me happy. I'm going to let that dry. You can kind of see it a little bit, but not dramatically. If I turn, yeah. Hopefully when it dries it will do. Now, what I'm going to do is come back and again, build just the next level. I really want to put the attention, I really want to draw people into the painting here. So what I notice with the reference that I want to keep is there's a dramatic contrast between the dark of the dock back here. There's almost no light in this dock, and then the light of the building above it. So I want to establish that very emphatically. So let's go back there with that kind of that dark black almost color and see, okay, I want to put this I really want that dark part there to be very much like I said, okay, there. I'm going in with my darkest darks, then I want almost my lightest lights. So I'm mixing some of this yellow again. I am dulling it down with a little of this blue so that I can put in the idea of what I want to see if it I'm creating like a greenish color, a diffused color to take in and draw in there's like a might be too much. Okay. Gonna have to be very careful there not to overdo. There, we can put some of that stuff back into the background, but it will still read as lighter value-wise than some of the other things. So we'll put some of these architectural Yes, Bob, the trick is to do less detail than it appears. If you choose the right details, a master of this was a painter named John Singer Sargent. Especially when he would, if you look at Sargent's work, he was a master of fabrics, women's dresses, silks, these things. And he could do one or two brush strokes that would indicate detail. But if you think about a comparison, obviously not to Sargent, but to that idea, is these few strokes, brush strokes. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. Maybe 50 brush strokes in this whole section, and it doesn't look detailed at all, but you can tell there are buildings there just by putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brush strokes that are vertical. It looks, and in the right perspective, it looks like there are a stack of buildings there with a roof line, and there's not a whole lot of actual detail. So that's the approach I'm taking here. I did a brush stroke there, one there, one there, one there, one there, 2 there, and a couple of here. Like, how much detail can I basically suggest? Because I'd like to put as little detail as possible, because I believe that creates a more successful painting. When people across the room, it looks very, or from 5-10 feet away, it looks like, wow, there's all those buildings with all the lights in the buildings and the reflections, and then you get up on it and it's like, oh, when you look at it, it's just like a few brush strokes. That's the intent, at least. Okay, let's go in here, and I'm not sure. I think this is where I am going to actually follow the reference a little bit as far as the actual roof line. And I think I am going to move this roof over. Now the old tip of the roof was clear up here and clear up here. So look how much difference by bringing them down a few inches. I really have given myself so much more. This looks taller, and it draws you into the painting further with your eyes than stopping. Like, you get, your eye follows the roof line and then it blocks right there. We want this roof line here because that keeps us from going off the end of the, like by putting a vertical line there, that keeps us from going off the end of the painting. But this needs to be lower, so that's what's happening strategically, or at least intentionally in my head. So again, and then the detail you choose to add is what makes a difference. And this back here doesn't need a lot of detail because it's so far from the viewer. Wow, it's amazing to me. Look how much better, more successful the painting is already when taking out all that detail and redoing this and doing it better and more correct. All of a sudden, it's the whole painting itself is better. Okay, now we're taking this gray purplish color back, and we're going to just highlight the edges of the roof. Again, just giving us the suggestion of a roof line. There. I think I'm going to take the same color and just do a couple of vertical slats. Just to suggest that there is some structure back here. Now what I need is that same to do Okay. And below here, I want to do put a little idea of window, and then there is the bright. I think I do want to do a really cool I don't know how to do this exactly, so I hope I don't ruin the whole. Okay, what I just did, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see, to suggest the neon light. I just kind of squiggled across, and then I did one upward slanted brush stroke this way and one upward slanted brush stroke this way. So at a distance, it looks like a, hopefully it looks like cursive, like some logo branded. See? Because I can't tell what that says, and I don't really want to know what it says, but I do want it to be that, there, again, to draw the eye in. Let me zoom back out. Now notice how the eye is drawn back here because of the contrast of the dark and the light. Our lightest and our darkest values are right beside each other. And so I don't want to do, like in the photo, you see all of this detail in the building, but I don't want to distract from that right there. So I want to keep that pretty tame. If that makes sense. But I will see if I can. I'm bringing the value up just a tad to do, again, it's the details you don't, it's what you choose to include or not that can sell the painting. I don't want to get too carried away. Thanks so much, John. Appreciate you joining. Have a great evening, and we'll catch it next time. Muchas gracias. Me gusta el reflejo también. And I'm slowly raising the value balance on the front of these buildings because I want to see if this works. Now, okay. Now we want to come in. Slowly we'll turn on the lights. Muchas gracias y nos vemos pronto. Gracias por venir a mi livestream otra vez. Okay, see how I just basically used alternating values to carve out this building? So that's what I'm going to do with the rest of these little by little, is just carve them out, and um, the pieces are already there. So it's just now really putting them together. So now I'm gonna take a little bit here. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, little by little, I just know I'm gonna be so much more happy with it. Um, by fixing some of these little things, because there's just things I've learned or am learning that are so much more um, now I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say, but basically things I know now that I didn't before that are so much more obvious for me. So now I can apply some of those things. Okay. I don't know how to. Trying to see. Kind of sketching in some windows before I put them in too darkly, because I want to get them correct. I'm going to step away from my canvas a little bit. I've been really up close to it, and it's hard to see, especially perspective shifts from that close up. Yeah, I'm still happy with what I'm seeing, so that lets me know that what I'm doing is correct. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of good things still, so this is making me happy. Hey, Yogesh, thank you. Thanks for popping in. Okay, so notice the reflection here lines up with the front side of this building as we've reconstructed it, which I didn't pay attention to. But I'm going to need to brighten the lights in this building so that it matches the reflection. This building is going to have to be well lit as well, especially from the bottom floor. And then this is probably good where it is, but I'm going to take that pink windowed building from this side and move it in here because I want these darker anyway. And then it will really guide the eye because it's warmer and warmer and brighter as it goes in towards the focal point. And then that's where we have the lightest and darkest contrast of values there as well. So I think that will help this read a whole lot better. A whole lot better. So let me see here. See if I can put in some bright lights. Let's take yellow, and I'm gonna, I don't want to come too bright too quick, so we're gonna take it pretty red. Let's take some blue just to desaturate it even more. But let's start to put the idea, because until you get it up next to the color it's on, it's crazy. You think you're muting something and then it just is like, blah. So here I want to do big kind of on either side of this. Door. Okay, and then we want to, I'm just trying to get the lights in the right place. So let's put a window there, put a window there. Okay, that way we have, I think the lights are in the right place now. It's crazy how dark this is. Let me add just a little, I'm just adding a little yellow ochre. I'm not even going to cadmium yellow, just a little yellow ochre. And it's crazy. We'll bring the saturation up little by little until we get it to where we want it. we're almost to the end of our time here. So I'm just going to do a little more of this, and then we're going to let it set. You want to get these all different, but also, because not everyone has the same color hue in their house. There. I think that's what I'm looking for. Little by little. Okay, we did a lot of great things tonight. We redid the steeple. I think I am going to come and do some more in the dark, like around this section, so it's more like a box, and then the steeple. We redid the skyline here. Remember, the original roof points, you can't really see it, but they were right here. So we brought that down. Oops, sorry about that. So we brought that down, which really helped the perspective in comparison to these buildings. We basically repainted the facade of all these buildings, and we're just building it up by values. So it's already rendering better. And so we'll continue to do this. I don't know, I may, depending if I get any work done this week, we may do this again next week in the live stream, because I basically need to take this value here and bring it into these 4 or 5 buildings that are here, balancing it with the front of this building, not to brighten it up too much, so that they're all kind of even, drawing our eye all the way back here. And so we really want to keep pushing the eye back here, but we'll build it up little by little so that these values are more in balance. And I do want to work on this barge a little bit. I think it needs to be a little more lined with this perspective, but I think I can do some of that work with detail again. And yeah, we will keep building up, because I really like how this is and how it draws the eye in, with the sunset going down as opposed to behind the clouds. So it's been fun to work on this with you all, and to make what feels like real, rather significant progress, because for several months this sat here and I was feeling like I didn't know exactly how to fix it or what to do. But I feel like we had much better success than last week's paintings. So let me pull you back to the main camera here while I adjust this one to say goodnight. Thank you to those of you who have joined me and have been here majority of the evening. I'm so glad to have you as for however long you can stay. I enjoy these times hanging with you and getting to share my paint journey with you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's see, kind of. Okay, we are here, and this is where we are on this. This is where we are on this painting. We've gotten quite a bit done, and I'm much happier with it as we may have to tone down some of these values in the reflection. Because when I was first painting this, I kept trying to raise them because I was looking for that pop, and it really is about the contrast of values. I'm just learning how powerful value contrast is, like putting the right value balance and the contrast, not necessarily what I see everything in the picture, but how I want it to be portrayed on the painting and how I want it to read for the painting. So we're getting there. I'm much happier with this roof line, and I think it makes a much stronger painting. So that's where we are, and we will continue working on that. Join me next week, as always, on Monday evening at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Central, for the live stream. It will be the 118th episode of the live stream next week. Hard to believe. If you would like to follow my journey as I develop my collection of paintings here in the Black Hills, you can subscribe to my email list, and I will send those out probably not more than once a month, maybe twice, as we get going. But you can follow the growth of that. You can also follow my progress photos, sketches I do on Instagram, so you can follow me there at Stephen E. Rice, and you can see some of the sketches I did. A really cute sketch of my friend's dog this week that was a lot of fun, as well as a landscape of Colorado that another friend of mine had taken. And so I'm always trying to continue my growth and development. That said, I want to say thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you have a great week, and take care of yourself and enjoy the end of summer as we head into fall. And I will see you next time right here on the live stream. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.